Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining our DrayTek Wireless webinar. My name is Mia Athawale. I'm the Technical Product Manager for DrayTek line of products at ABP Technology. So before we start, I would like to mention that my friend and colleague Sierra Truckley will be collecting your questions today. So don't forget to type them in the chat window anytime during the course of the webinar. We will try to answer all your questions during the webinar, or if we run out of time, we will email you the information that you need. So let's begin. So this will primarily be an introduction to DrayTek's wireless offerings. For anyone who needs a broader overview of all our other DrayTek solutions, I urge you to take a look at some of our recorded webinars that we have uploaded on YouTube. DrayTek has a lot to offer you in terms of security and convenience to help you grow your business. So today we will look at a few different wireless application scenarios. Whether you're deploying Wi-Fi in an SMB environment or school campuses or hotels, cafes, DrayTek offers incredible value with its feature-rich lineup. We will also talk about the vast array of central management and monitoring features that DrayTek puts at your fingertips. If you are already deploying DrayTek Wi-Fi, I urge you to stay tuned till the end of the webinar because we will discuss exciting new features and additions to the DrayTek lineup this year. So during the webinar, if you are experiencing audio problems, please let us know through the chat window. And don't forget to send us your questions. So before we dive any deeper, let me give you a quick overview of the company. DrayTek is a networking solutions manufacturer from Taiwan, and they are popular all over the world for their feature-rich business routers, firewalls, VPN solutions, wireless solutions. They were one of the first global companies to introduce VPNs for teleworkers and dual WAN routers to the SMB market. Thousands of DrayTek devices are sold worldwide every year. They are also becoming a fast favorite with SMBs, MSPs, and ISPs in United States who are looking for a robust, feature-rich business network solution to offer to their customers. So what makes them different? Over the last 2 decades, DrayTek has built a solid reputation in terms of quality. We ourselves at ABP have experienced the reliability firsthand by using DrayTek products in-house for a number of years. 60% of DrayTek's employees worldwide are research and development. This makes them a very innovative company capable of developing customized solutions for niche markets. And at ABP, we take customer feedback very seriously. So we work very closely with DrayTek R&D for adding new features that benefit US businesses. Network World has named DrayTek as one of the best VPN routers for small business. Around the globe, Vodafone, British Telecom, Siemens, Barracuda have all had large multi-site deployments with DrayTek routers. Vodafone, as you know, is a global ISP, and they have chosen DrayTek as their CPE router of choice in Netherlands. They've deployed more than 80,000 DrayTek devices to their customers so far. Closer to home too, US-based ISPs and ITSPs such as Finality, Blackfoot, Yadkin Valley Telephone have all deployed hundreds of DrayTek routers to their customers. All right then, coming to the topic of the day. Why upgrade your wireless solutions with DrayTek? Wi-Fi has become ubiquitous in corporate networks today. A few years back, Wi-Fi was limited to personal devices, laptops, smartphones. But now with the Internet of Things, light bulbs, locks, barcode scanners, thermostats, practically every little device runs on Wi-Fi. So we all know that the 2.4 gigahertz band being used by most devices has become increasingly crowded. So performance suffers for your important applications. The solution is, of course, upgrading to simultaneous dual band wireless, which gives you an additional 5 gigahertz frequency band. The new 802.11ac standard adds even more channels for much better throughput. But the problem is that most SMBs continue to have a patchwork Wi-Fi network with access points of different brands, with all their individual quirks, and without a central controller for a smooth deployment. Most network admins end up installing and maintaining each individual access point manually instead of centrally. This is where DrayTek would be a perfect solution. With its robust central management features, DrayTek gives network admins much better coverage and throughput throughout their network. So DrayTek wireless access points, when bundled with DrayTek routers and DrayTek switches, make a really great solution that can add a lot of value to your network offerings. So before we delve any further into our wireless features and scenarios, let's take a quick overview of our most popular access points. As you can see here, we have two main offerings. The AP902 is a desk-mounted 802.11 AC access point, and the AP910C is a ceiling-mounted 802.11 AC access point. Both of them are extremely feature-rich. They support 4 SSIDs on each band, so that's a total of 8 SSIDs. You can set up a separate guest wireless network with network isolation. You can have separate VLANs for each SSID. Multiple operating modes like access point, universal repeater can be set up on these access points. And they also have comprehensive security features. And we will try to get into more detail when we come to the demo part. But these are great solutions for SMBs looking to standardize on one solution in their network with DrayTek. Okay, so moving on to some of our favorite DrayTek wireless features. A really cool feature offered in DrayTek routers is the ability to manage DrayTek wireless access points right from the router's interface. So it offers a single pane of control and management for your entire wireless network. This makes it ideal for small offices, cafes, boutique hotels to standardize on a single solution for all their networking needs. So while other popular wireless solutions need a wireless controller to be purchased separately, this feature is included at no additional cost on the DrayTek SMB routers 2925 and 2860 series. So these routers can manage up to 20 DrayTek access points centrally. We also have newer models, 2952 and 3220, which can manage up to 30 DrayTek access points centrally. So these are perfect for small hotels. So access point deployment becomes completely plug and play with this feature. All your Wi-Fi settings, SSIDs, passwords can be pushed out to the access points in batch mode. You do not have to log into each individual access point separately anymore. They can still continue to function as standalone access points, but the central AP management makes it so much more simple. So wireless clients can be distributed optimally between the access points with the load balance feature available on the central AP management. Load balancing can be done both on signal strength or the traffic handled by each access point. So these features built into the APM ensure that all the access points in your network are being used optimally without overloading just a few while the others are never used. As I was talking about the load balancing, so this feature is available on the APM on DrayTek routers. Quite often what happens is that you have too many stations trying to connect to one of your access points while the others are sitting idle. They either don't have many clients connected or they have clients connected but they are hardly utilizing their bandwidth. In such scenarios, AP load balancing can be set up on the access point management feature. So you can set up a threshold for maximum number of clients connected to any given access point, or a maximum upload and download bandwidth limit set for each access point. So any client trying to connect to an access point that has reached its threshold will be refused and sent to another access point. Or you can force one of the clients already connected to an access point to disassociate, either if it has been idle for a long time or if it has moved away and has a weak signal strength now. So this way, by disassociating an existing client, you can accept a new client, while the client that was disassociated can try to reconnect to a new access point with a better signal. So this way, your traffic is evenly distributed across all your access points. Now, let's talk about wireless roaming a bit. So wireless roaming is when a client moves around in an area with multiple access points and automatically switches to another access point which has better signal strength. However, the wireless signal handover is most often a decision of the wireless clients. And we often find that some clients are stickier than other clients. So they stick to the originally connected access point even with a weak signal. They will just not roam to the next access point even if that access point has a stronger signal strength. So for this reason, DrayTek came up with the AP-assisted client roaming feature on their access points. You can set up certain conditions related to the link rate or the RSSI on the access point so that it will kick off its clients if it detects poor signal strength. So this encourages sticky wireless clients to transfer to another access point with a more optimized connection. And for this feature, the access points will continuously communicate with each other and monitor signal strength for optimized handoff. So you can even have conditions where a client will only be kicked off from its existing access point if the access point detects that a neighboring access point is offering better signal strength. So it's a lot of flexibility is possible with this feature. Okay, let's pause for a moment and see if we have any questions so far. Ciro?
Yes, we have one question here. Is it possible to handle different SSIDs with different bandwidth?
Yes, you can. There is a lot of ways you can actually implement this. So it can be done on the router itself if you're using it for central management. So if you have different networks, different VLANs set up for each SSID, you have very granular control over their bandwidth usage. The other option is you can also set up bandwidth usage limits for clients connecting to an SSID on the access point itself. So yeah, there are various ways in which you can do this.
Okay, that's all for now, yeah.
All right. Okay, so moving forward, airtime fairness. So what is airtime fairness and why do we need it? Let's try to first understand the problem that airtime fairness feature attempts to resolve. Theoretically, wireless channels can only be accessed by one wireless client at a time. This was proposed to ensure that all the clients connecting to a wireless channel have equal probability and opportunity to access the channel. But this is the theory. Practically, it's never an ideal scenario because clients use different protocols and they have different data rates. For example, if a client is using the older 802.11g protocol, it's going to have a much lower data rate than those that use the 802.11n or AC. So the ones using the older protocols, they take much longer to transmit a packet compared to the clients that are connecting with faster data rates. So what happens is that the performance of the newer, faster clients suffers if there are too many older, slower clients connecting to your Wi-Fi. So with airtime fairness feature on DrayTek access points, what we are trying to do is increase the probability of the faster clients to access the wireless channel. And we do this by controlling the transmission rate. So the access points taper off the transmission on the slower clients so that the faster clients get more time for transmission. Okay, so maybe this explains it better. So this is a graphical representation of channel availability with and without airtime fairness. So in theory, the more number of clients you have accessing your wireless channel, the less airtime each one of them is going to get. Now, in theory, they are supposed to get equal airtime, but that's not what happens, as you can see. So you might have heard of scenarios where wireless performance degraded over time in a network. This is generally because a very slow client in that network is bringing down the performance for everybody else. So this innovative feature is trying to prevent this kind of scenario. So we are trying to equalize better with airtime fairness. Not perfectly, but it's much better than without airtime fairness. Bear in mind though that the airtime fairness feature works better in certain specific environments. It will show good results if the bottleneck, the performance bottleneck, is being specifically caused by wireless. Now, if you have a slower device which is causing the bottleneck because of a slower processor maybe, then of course airtime fairness cannot help much. It also works better when most of the traffic is download traffic because this feature works by controlling transmission rates. And also you will notice that the most difference is observed when there are many clients connected to the access point. For fewer clients, you won't really notice much difference. For this reason, you can set up a threshold for the maximum number of clients on an access point. So if your threshold is 20, airtime fairness feature will kick in after 20 clients are connected and then start throttling the slower clients. So station control is another useful feature on DrayTek access points and routers. It is great for hotels or cafes where you don't want clients to connect forever, probably without buying your coffee. So you want to free up access points after some time for newer customers. You can set up a specific connection time after which clients will be disassociated from that access point. And you can specify when they are allowed to reconnect. So you can set it up so that a client that gets kicked off cannot connect again during the day. It's really useful for hotels and cafes. So access point management on the DrayTek routers is great for monitoring up to 30 access points. But if you are an ISP, MSP, or integrator with a larger customer base, maybe with hundreds, thousands of devices even, it has become essential for any provider nowadays to have complete visibility and centralized control over the deployed customer equipment at all times. For such projects, we recommend DrayTek's ACS centralized network management solution. So the ACS is a TR69 based multi-tenant software that you can install on your own server. It requires an annual license that depends on the number of devices you are trying to manage. And it lets you see the connectivity status, monitor system health alerts, generate detailed reports for all your customer routers and access points from one single location. So this helps you proactively monitor and resolve customer network issues for a better customer experience. And it can help you transition to a managed services platform by generating recurring revenue streams. Now, this is generally a software that you need to install yourself, but currently we are offering a hosted version of the DrayTek ACS platform to our customers for free till the end of the year. So I really encourage you to take advantage of this offer and reach out to your sales rep. We will give you a free account where you can register and monitor all your DrayTek devices if you already have them, and you can try out all its features. So let's pause for questions. Cyril, do you have any questions so far?
Another one, Mia, someone's asking, can I use a DrayTek access point as an extender and connect it wirelessly to the router?
Absolutely, yeah. Since both the access points we discussed can also work as a universal repeater, you can totally connect them to your DrayTek routers and repeat the signal.
Yeah, that will be it for now.
All right. Okay, so here's a sneak peek of what we've been working on this year. If you're already using the DrayTek wireless routers and access points, you'll be very happy to see the wireless hotspot feature that will be added with the next major firmware upgrade in the 2860 router. So this hotspot web portal feature allows you to set up rules for your internal users when they first connect to the internet through the router. Now we had a basic version of this already, but the new web portal is going to be so much more comprehensive. So you can set up rules where users are required to read and agree to certain terms and conditions, or they are redirected to specific URLs, or they need to authenticate themselves before they can gain access to the internet. And you can see why this is perfect for hospitality applications. Something we are excited about is the ability for users to authenticate themselves with their social login. So they can authenticate through Google or Facebook. So it's a great promotion tool for your business. You can also set up a PIN code that will be sent to the users through SMS, which is again a very useful feature for hotels. Moreover, you'll be able to completely customize the colors, theme, background image of the web page that is shown to the user before they can access the internet. So it's an excellent way to promote your business and get more social media followers. So as I mentioned, this feature will be released on the 2860 series routers first, and then we can expect to have it added to the 2925. Any questions here?
I have a question regarding outdoor access points. Want to know if there are any outdoor access points available.
Yes, it's funny that you should mention that because we just heard that DrayTek is working, in fact, on an outdoor access point. We get this question a lot every time we do a wireless webinar, and we are excited to finally see an outdoor offering from DrayTek. Now, we don't have a lot of information about this yet. From what I hear, it's going to be announced and we can expect it in maybe the fourth quarter. Now, it will be an 802.11 AC access point and provide power over Ethernet on one of its ports. So I think it's a great solution for surveillance applications. It's something to definitely watch out for.
I have another question, Mia. Do the older access point 810 or 900 work with AP management built into the routers?
Yes, they work. They work with the central AP management. However, the degree of their support varies. And we have a useful comparison chart that we can probably email you um, when we send you the recording. So you can see how much of the, how many features of central AP management are supported on the older access points. I'm pretty sure the AP900 supports most of the features we discussed today, load balancing and all that. 810 was more basic, 710 even more so. So that's probably going to just let you monitor the access points on the router, uh, not do a lot of load balancing and stuff, which is why we urge you to actually upgrade your network to the newer access points because they 802.11 AC, whereas these older access points were just N, single band. So, okay, so here's just a quick overview of a product line. So you can see where our wireless offerings fit in the mix. I don't want to bore you with all the details on every DrayTek model. But DrayTek routers can support a wide variety of WAN interfaces: cable, ADSL, VDSL, fiber, 4G LTE, and of course Ethernet, depending on the model. So you can, based on the number of internet connections that you want to load balance between, you can choose from an extensive range of routers suitable for different applications. And almost all of them have wireless variants, single band and dual band. So for example, I mentioned the 2925 and 2860 series, which are probably our most popular SMB router series, and they both have single band N variant as well as dual band AC variant. So this is Wi-Fi built into the router. They will still work with access points to extend your network. They still have central AP management, but you also get Wi-Fi built into the router. I would just like to bring your attention to a couple of new additions to our lineup. So if you are already using the 2925 series and you like it, then you will be excited by our new 2952 series. So it's the next step up from 2925. It has better throughput, it has support for 100 simultaneous VPNs, and more importantly, it can manage up to 30 DrayTek Wi-Fi access points. So I would recommend it for any kind of small boutique hotel or maybe a small school campus. Another recent addition to our lineup is the 3220 router. Now this series boasts of 4 gigabit WAN ports plus 2 USB ports for dongle backup, LTE dongle backup. So this router effectively gives you 6 WAN connections to load balance between. So it's a truly powerful redundant solution. And similar to the 2952 series, it also lets you manage up to 30 DrayTek access points centrally from its interface. We've already looked at our access points that we recommend. Another exciting feature released this year is switch management. We have been talking about it for quite a while now, and it's available on 2925 and 2860 series routers. Lets you manage DrayTek switches centrally. So it's very similar to central access point management. But now you can turn switch ports on and off, set schedules, configure VLANs without ever leaving your router's interface. So you don't have to log into your managed switches anymore. Everything, your DrayTek access points, your DrayTek switches can all be configured through just your DrayTek router's interface. So this is a great time to take a look at our all our various switches. So we have fully managed 24-port PoE and non-PoE switches, gigabit. We also have a 24-port smart switch, and we are expecting the smart switch version of the 24-port PoE soon. So it's a great time to look at DrayTek switches. So you can have a standard solution for your customers. All right, so before we move on to the demo part, Ciro is still taking your questions on chat, so don't forget to send him your queries. And if we don't have time today to answer all of them, we will follow up with through email. So Ciro, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I have another question, Mia. Customer has asked, wireless hotspot feature is going to be a software firmware upgrade for the 2925 when it's available, or that series on that series, or will this have to be a new purchase router?
No, it's going to be a software firmware upgrade. It's going to be completely free of cost, and it will be included in the next major version to be released. In fact, DrayTek will continue to improve on this feature. We will see its functionality will improve in phases. So from what I've heard later, they are also working on adding integration with maybe an external web server, but that's still in the works. To begin with, it will be you will be able to customize the web page that is shown by the router and have all the different authentication modes that we discussed.
That would be it so far, Mia.
All right. Okay. So let's pause for a minute and get to the demo. So this is a 2925 router that I set up. This is our most popular router. It is dual WAN, so it can load balance and failover between two Ethernet WAN ports as well as two USB ports for LTE dongle backup. As you can see that it's a very feature-rich model. This one is the dual band wireless version of the router, AC version. So it has 2.4 as well as 5 gigahertz wireless built into the router. And it also has central AP management. So this lets you manage up to 20 connected DrayTek access points. At the moment, I have one access point here for the demo. So this is the AP902 desktop version that we discussed. I have it here. So as you can see, you can monitor the status of the connected access point. It will show you the logs, various alerts, total traffic. Right now, I don't have a lot of, I don't have clients connected to this access point, maybe just one. So there's not a lot of traffic, but I can see how many clients are connected here. So the way the access point management works is when you first plug in the DrayTek access point into your LAN network, when it gets a DHCP IP from the router also pushes a default profile to this access point. DrayTek already has a default profile configured for your convenience, but you can create multiple profiles and have the settings that you need. So this default profile pretty much lets you set all the basic settings on the access point. Your SSIDs, channels, operating modes, passphrases, so all the security settings. So as I mentioned, both the access points have 4 SSIDs on each band. So that gives you a total of 8 SSIDs. It has comprehensive security features. So WPA2, you can also have control based on the MAC addresses of the client, so you can have a strict access list. And since somebody asked that question, we have bandwidth limit. Here we have bandwidth limit. This is for the 5 gigahertz SSID. So all the settings can be configured and saved on the router itself. If you make a profile, a default profile, it will automatically be pushed to all the access points that are connecting to the network and getting a DHCP IP from the router. Now, once they show up as connected, you will be able to monitor their status here, monitor their traffic and clients connected here on this single interface. Also, you'll be able to do a lot of maintenance tasks. For example, you can take the backups of the access points configuration or push firmwares in the batch mode to all the access points together instead of trying to do it individually. Remotely reboot or factory reset the access points. You can also upload a map of the building to the router so that you can monitor the access points that are connected and make sure that you have optimal coverage. So I don't have a map here, but let me show you our router that is in use right now. So this is our router here at the Dallas office. We might have a map here. So we can see a map of our building. Yes, we don't have a lot of access points connected right now. But yeah, this is where you upload the map, and once it's set up properly, it will show you each access point and their coverage here. You can also monitor daily or weekly traffic usage for each access point. I have just one right now for this demo. And also these access points, especially the desktop ones, in addition to VLANs, so you can have separate VLANs for each SSID, you also can have physical separation. So the AP902 has two physical LANs, LAN A and LAN B. You can have rogue AP detection enabled. So it will show you all the access points in your area around your access point. So you can see what channels they're using, and if you feel that your performance is not optimal for that access point, you can maybe use a channel with less interference. These are all the access points around us right now. Total traffic, like we discussed, and the clients, number of clients connected. Load balance. This is one of the features that we talked about. As I mentioned, the router can do load balancing between access points. It can load balance clients between access points based on either the number of clients connected to any given access point or the traffic being handled by an access point. So you can choose to, if the threshold that you set for maximum clients or maximum traffic is reached on an access point, you can choose to set it up so that the access point will not accept any more connection attempts. Now, if you want to always be able to accept new connections, new clients, you can also set up force overload disassociation. So what you can do is always accept a new client. However, on the existing clients, you can kick one of them off, either based on how long they've been idle or if they don't have good signal strength anymore. So an existing client will be kicked off in order to accept a new connection. And that the client that gets kicked off will then try to reconnect to a neighboring access point, and this way it's encouraged to connect to an access point with a better signal strength. So with this feature, you actually ensure optimal usage of all the access points in your network. So any questions so far, Siro?
Yes, Mia, I have another question for you. Will access point management be added via firmware to the Enterprise 3900?
Um, to my knowledge, they are working on it. I'm just not sure when it will be added. But yeah, that is something in the works, and they are planning on adding it to 2960 and 3900 enterprise routers. And it will be a firmware upgrade. Yes.
Okay, that's all so far, Mia.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the access point very quickly. So as I mentioned, this is a desktop access point, 802.11ac access point, and it can work in a number of modes. It can be an access point or universal repeater in both the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz modes. In addition, in the 2.4 gigahertz modes, it can also be a client, a wireless client. And that can be quite useful because if you maybe have a setup, a temporary setup where you want to be able to connect the access point wirelessly and repeat the signal to your LAN clients, that is something you can do with your station infrastructure mode. It's great for, we use it for our shows when we attend shows and we want to set up a booth. This is what we use pretty much. So the access point itself can be a DHCP server, or if you're using central access point management on the router can be the DHCP server. You can also have a separate management VLAN for all the access points, which is different from your data and from your internal LAN clients and your guest network. So the central AP management lets the router be able to monitor the status of the access points, and the auto provision, which is checked by default, I've just unchecked it here, lets you push out the default profile as soon as an access point connects to your network. Here is the list. So if you have an older access point and you want to check if it supports any central access point management features, you can look that up in the function support list. In your access point, it will show you which features of central AP management are supported. But it would be a good idea to just upgrade your firmware to the latest, even on your older access points, for maximum support of the features. Now, all these are configured, they can be configured as standalone settings. Like I mentioned, all the access points can be standalone. So if you already have an existing network, you can just begin by adding access points to it. But if you have the router in combination, then all these settings can be pushed out from the router. So your SSIDs, channels, your security settings can all be pushed out. We have access control based on the MAC address of certain clients. So only certain clients are allowed to connect to an SSID. So we can also set up a per station bandwidth limit on each SSID, upload and download bandwidth limit. This is on the access point. Bandwidth limit is also available on the router itself, which is more comprehensive. So you can determine session limits or bandwidth limits based on a certain IP range. If you know what IPs your wireless clients are going to get from the router, you can do that on the router itself. So bandwidth limit is available on both. The airtime fairness, very simple to set up. We discussed this. You can set up a certain threshold at which airtime fairness will come into play. So maybe since it's most effective when there are a lot of clients connected, you can set up a high threshold. So maybe start tapering off the older, slower connections if there are more than 15 clients connected to the access point. So this is very easy to set up. Station control, another great feature we discussed. You can set up connection and disconnection times for each client, very useful in cafe type of scenarios. Also roaming, AP-assisted client roaming, as we discussed. So it can be done in a few different ways. You can set up a minimum rate, and if the basic minimum transmission rate of a client falls below the threshold that you set up, then the access point will disconnect it and encourage it to go to a better an access point with a better basic rate. You can also do this based on RSSI requirement. And there are certain other features like minimum RSSI with adjacent AP. So in this version, the access points will continuously communicate with each other. And if the existing access point finds that a neighboring access point can offer a better signal strength, only then the client is disassociated. And you can define what better is. So you can say that if the RSSI is over a certain threshold, then it gets disconnected. An interesting feature that we did not discuss is mobile device management. It's still something that is in the works. This is a basic version of what they offer right now, but this lets you see the vendor, the type of clients connecting to your access point, and you can have various policies. So if you want to just allow PC connections but not mobile connections, you can do that. It will also show you statistics of the various operating systems in use by your clients. So quite useful. You can also have a temperature sensor plugged in into your access point. So it's a USB port is available on each access point on the desktop versions. So you can have temperature sensors into all your access points and monitor the temperature around your building. Also set up alerts that you can receive through syslog or through email if your threshold gets exceeded. So yeah, I guess we are reaching the end of our webinar. Ciro, do you have any questions so far? Something you would like me to go over?
Yes, Mia, I have another question more regarding to the router itself. Someone's asking, can I use my cell phone hotspot as a WAN failover for my router?
As a WAN failover? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So the 2925, so as I said, it has two WAN connections, Ethernet WAN connections, and two USB ports for dongle backup. But in addition to that, on the WAN 2, it lets you also be a wireless client. So the router can actually take a wireless signal and repeat it to its connected clients, which means that it can repeat the signal from your hotspot as well.
That's all so far, Mia.
Okay. Well, I told you about switch management, and that's something I want to quickly show. So it's a very similar feature set to access point management that we saw. I have one switch connected, a DrayTek switch connected to the router right now. And when you have a lot of switches daisy chained, it's useful to see the switch hierarchy in your network, in your wired LAN. It tells you which port is connected. Right now I just have one that is going to the access point. So it can show me actually which port of the router is connected where to the switch. Similar to the access points, it will push out a default profile to your switches as well that you can configure. It also has maintenance options. It looks like I might have lost access to my router. Are you still able to see my screen, Zero?
Yes, Mia.
Okay. Yeah, I think I lost access to my router. Oh, okay, there it is. I guess I don't have my switch, so I'm connecting from outside the network, so I don't have my switch with ports open, so I probably cannot get to the switch right now. But yeah, it's a very useful feature and it's a great time to look at DrayTek switches. Oh, there you go. So as I was saying, VLANs can all be configured on the router itself. In fact, they are auto-configured. So if your router already has VLANs configured on it, it configures the appropriate settings that the switches need for tag VLANs to work. The one that you're seeing on the top is the router VLAN. Bottom is the switch VLAN settings that it has. A trunk port will be automatically configured on the connection between the router and the switch. So this is really useful. But yeah, I mean, we are pretty excited about all the management options that are now available on the 2925 router. And you will see this when you upgrade to the latest 3.8.4.1 firmware on the 2925. So yeah, so I think it's time for us to wrap up. There's a lot for me to talk. I can continue talking, but I think we'll have to leave some of the stuff for the next webinar. We don't want to keep you too long. An important event announcement. DrayTek has just announced their official DrayTek Certified Network Admin program. So this is going to be a 2-day course that will be administered by DrayTek engineers with hands-on labs and a short test. And our first certification event will be in Dallas next month, June 7th and 8th. So watch out for an invite in your email. We will also have a regular one-day training in LA next month. So it's going to be on 14 June. So watch out for that invite as well. We hope to see you at both the events. If you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to call or email us. And I have included a few handouts that you can download for the data sheets of the products that we discussed today. A short survey will be shown to you at the end of the webinar. It's only 10, probably less than 10 questions. So please fill that out. It will really help us improve our content. And once again, thank you all for joining. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Mia.
Thank you, Ciro.